Hello, 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 hello. Sorry for being late. I was just finishing up FF16, and oh boy, the ending sequence goes long. But, for not long games, let's get going on some short games. I need to turn this way down, I bet. Okay, let's get this captured. Yeah, there we go. So if you're familiar with the Sega Genesis classic Columns, someone made a Pico 8 fan remake of it. I love Columns. I'm not any good at it or anything, but I do enjoy some good Columns. So if you're not familiar, Columns is a match 3 game in a similar vein as Tetris. It was, well, it's not Sega's attempt to make a Tetris game because they actually owned the rights to Tetris in Japan. So this was just them, doing their own thing, making something different, which I think is pretty interesting. You'll notice the obvious difference is that you stack gems in, columns. And so that means that there's going to be a few key differences in what makes for good combo potential. Notably, you really want to go for diagonal clears because that will allow you to shift the orientation of gems much more than if you tried to just stack them vertically. Vertically stacking is, it works, but it doesn't really accomplish much. So this one's unique. Whatever you match this with will fall away. All of those will be cleared, that is. And so that's going to be your main ticket to getting big combos. If you just stack vertically, or indeed are otherwise not very good at the game like me, you'll find that you're going to start upstacking uncontrollably. Because you're essentially always going to be dropping more blocks than you're clearing. So you really need to set up for big combos eventually in order to really succeed. Sure, let's do it like that. I can do combos to some extent intentionally, but most of the time it's very much accidental. Like, I'll get what I just think is like one clear and it's like bloop, 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 and I'm like, yeah, I'm in to do that. But the more you do horizontal or diagonal clears, the more you're going to accidentally stumble into a really good clear. Just by the nature of the fact that you're shifting around the pieces on the board. Because if you do that, then maybe something will fall into line. Obviously, a good player would be able to do so very much intentionally. But if you're not, you can still, kind of get there, Yeah, nothing special there I was hoping for. Sure. Let's get rid of greens. They're in kind of a weird spot. If you get really lucky, sometimes you'll get, like, 2 of the wild card pieces quickly back to back. And if you do that, then by eliminating 2 colors from the board just all at once, you'll find that you're almost certain to get a whole bunch of clears because there's just not going to be that many pieces left on the board to, you know, not match, as it were. You can see it's starting to get faster, and it's really hard, for me at least, to visualize the plays you need to make that quickly. So, the game speeding up is quite a big problem. Oh my god, I'm getting so many of them. Kind of too many of them. It wound up not being that great just because I didn't have that many pieces on the board. So there wasn't that much to rapidly downstack. As a result, even though I got the very lucky pieces, it didn't really mean that much. Yeah. Wasn't sure what to do with that one. I feel like I'm getting very lucky with the wild card blocks. You normally don't get that many. That's probably not that useful. There was a decent one. Incidentally, if you want to play proper columns, not that this is really any different, Sega does often make collections of their old games that are available on modern platforms. So, like, you can access columns through, like, the Genesis collection sort of stuff pretty easily. But this is a perfectly cromulent recreation of it, and I really appreciate that. I just totally blanked on what to do with that one. kind of getting to the upper limits of what I can really handle speed-wise. Yeah, you see, there you go. That's how you sort of get an accidental nice combo. But at this point, I'm largely just trying to make every play, as well, at least as many as possible, end up getting me some sort of clear to keep down stacking in a desperate attempt to stay ahead of the pieces piling up. And sometimes I even get little combos. Oh, I did that wrong. Yeah, that was kind of intentional. Yeah, it's definitely going way too fast for me now. And the speed doesn't look impressive compared to the speeds that Tetris can get up to, but it just, there's so much more planning in this game compared to Tetris that a much lower speed becomes very hard to play comparatively. That was almost purely an accident. I thought I had messed that up. Nice. Also, totally an accident. Yeah, I'm super dead now, so let's just clean that one up. So, as much as I love this game, there's not a whole lot to really talk about with it, you know? So I think that'll do. I think that, I mean, hey, I got the top score by a whole 3 points. So let's move on to the next one. That wasn't even that, like, short, really, compared to some of the ones. Now let's get to a real short one. Okay, just get that captured. And this is the whole game. You just wave to people. And when you wave to them, they're happy. And the description for the game on itch says, wave with any button. Blow kisses with your real life hands and mouth. So, mwah! 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 Well, if we don't wave at this next person. We don't wave at frogs in this household. Maximum wave. Just holding the wave. That's not good enough, but I let go of it and now he's happy. Now this is a true gamer's game. You see things like this now and then on in the itch bundles. Things that just like have about a shelf life of a minute, if that. But like, it's cute. Okay, that's enough of that. But I saw that and I'm like, well, I gotta show it off. Next one, next one. Once it loads. Anytime you want to, game, just load for me, would you? Yep. There. Oop. Kindly get resized. Thank you. Lesbian Mothman hunters. It's kind of visual novelty from my understanding, but it also seems like it was really short, so I decided to throw it in. You're probably wondering how I got here. It is made in Ren'Py, I can tell. This is the classic sign of a Ren'Py toolbar. Also the fact that it says Ren'Py in the game's files. In the woods behind a bunch of houses with my cute friend, completely overdressed for the middle of October after a rainy day. Possibly committing a crime. Neither of us could work out the Woodland Trust's opinion on camping. Mothman. Seriously? Mothman? Seriously, Mothman. Specifically the West Virginia Mothman, also possibly known as the Cornwall Owlman. Also known as something you aren't likely to find in a forest in the southeast of England. Oh shush. Although Owlman technically has the better name for a glowing-eyed winged humanoid, but Mothman is a much cooler name. Better for branding. Also, I've decided she's a girl. No man could be that cool. Hey, I said she was cute. I didn't say she was perfect. Then again, I still agreed to this. Not the best glass house to throw stones in. Plus, well, sometimes it's easier to go cryptid hunting in the woods than it is to tell your cute friend how you really feel about her. I mean, I know Mothman isn't exactly local to the UK, if you're going strictly by West Virginia lore. But Owlman, not only is she basically the same thing, she's been spotted in Cornwall. And that's why we're in the woods behind your house. Trains are expensive, Charlie. I can't afford to go across the country on a whim. If my brother didn't have the camping equipment, we couldn't have even done this. Same old Mia. Ever since we first met, she's been moving from one obsession to the next. She usually picks a TV show rather than supernatural monsters in general, but this is still better than her Homestuck phase. Oh, Christ alive! Oh, she would, wouldn't she? I still have nightmares about ill-advised grease paint hugs. I mean, that doesn't mean I have to believe in any of this, and Mia can take a bit of teasing, but also maybe this isn't the time. So with that in mind, I decided to ask for Owlman facts while teasing her. What even is a Owlman anyway? I mean, you'd know if you listened to the podcast I sent you. I did. They said that the Owlman was different from Mothman. Look, not everything in a comedy podcast about cryptids is going to be correct. I mean, okay, fine, Owlman. The difference is academic anyway. Anyway, everyone knows about Mothman. Big in West Virginia. Fantastic butt. Possibly predicts disasters. But Owlman gets ignored, despite multiple witnesses at the 1995 incident. Admittedly, this was in Chicago, but that's kind of my point. I'm going to look up Owlman. Owlman. Owlman cryptid. Cornish folklore. The Owl of Manon, or the Cornish Owlman, an owl-like humanoid said to have been seen in 1976 in the village of Mon in Cornwall, UK. The owl is sometimes compared to the American Mothman legend from the mid-1960s. However, Eurasian eagle owl is likely the source of the legend. Anything about 1995? Yeah. Sporadic claims of Owlman sightings in the vicinity of the Church of St. Mammon and St. Stephen's Church. It circulated in 1978, 1979, 1989, and 1995. And according to legend, a loud owl-like sound could be heard at night in the Mullion churchyard during the year 2000. An owl-like sound, you say? Perhaps an owl. Admittedly, that was in Chicago, but that's kind of my point. I think they're the same creature. At minimum, the same species. The Owlman can travel from Cornwall to Chicago. West Virginia isn't much of a stretch. And, like, Owlman seems like the most likely cause of the weird weather recently. All this sudden rain 1 second, then cloudless skies 5 minutes later? Classic Owlman. Ah, yes. Giant owl and /or moth people are definitely more plausible than global warming. You know that's... Oh, excuse me. You know that's not what I meant. Screech. The conversation comes to an abrupt halt. After a few nervous seconds, Mia's whispering breaks the silence. Charlie, I'm sorry to interrupt the cute teasing thing you're doing, but that sounded a lot like the noises Owlman is supposed to make. She thinks I'm cute? No, she just meant the teasing, right? Come on. Lewd! We got lewd hand-holding! She grabs hold of my hand and pulls me to my feet. Her hand she's so soft. Swapping hands with remarkable speed and pulling out her torch. She darts up in the direction of the cries, almost dragging me behind her as I jog after her. Perhaps an owl made that sound. My brain is still mush from the shock of sudden hand-holding. I can barely focus on where I'm going, just barely managing to keep myself from stumbling on the rough forest path. Does she know what she's doing? Am I just overthinking this? Before I can compose my thoughts, Mia has taken us a good distance into the forest, shining the torch erratically through the tree branches above us. Eventually, she lets go of my hand for a second, and I manage to calm myself down. I desperately hope she thinks my heavy breathing was because of the running. I still can't tell her. Not yet. I can't tell how she'll react. Oh, beans! I think we lost her. That's beans. That's beans. That's beans. That's beans. That's beans. Oh, totally. I could almost taste the owl and /or moth residue in the air. Residue? Seriously? What do you think owls and /or moths are? They're not slugs, Char. I'm beginning to believe that perhaps the teasing is not working out in my favor. Take things seriously. Oh well, I guess we should get back to the tent. Maybe see if we can... Suddenly she freezes, eyes desperately searching for the path. Char, please tell me you remember the way back to the tent. Sure, it's... Oh no. I shined my torch around futilely. I was so caught up holding her hand. I mean, this forest isn't that big, right? We can just... use tricks that solve mazes. So, like, you know how in mazes you can stick to the left and find your way out? Oh my god. I mean, we could just do that, right? Oh, honey. What? Char, forests aren't designed that way, or at all, usually. We'll just end up walking in circles. Owl balls, you're right. If it's any consolation, you're cute when you're confused. Maybe we should keep looking for the owl man. You're right about that, I guess. I mean, that's why we came here, right? Mia offers me her hand again. I take it nervously and follow as she gently pulls me down a forest pathway. So what's the plan? How do we find Owlman, and what do we do when we do? Well, I figured it wouldn't be too hard. I noticed signs that she's here, so I figured we'd just look for glowing eyes. Or like screeching noises, things in the tree branches. Corpses which have been mauled by a demon. The usual. Mia, if you start telling me you believe in demons... I don't really. I mean, some people think Owlman is a demon, but... She squeezes my hand tighter. I'm sorry, I wasn't expecting to get lost. I just need to calm down for a second. I squeeze her hand back. I've seen her get into panics like this before. I know she can get through this one. Sure, don't worry. Take your time. We stop for a second. Mia takes a few deep breaths, squeezing my hand gently in time with her breaths. Eventually, she breaks into relative silence. Okay, I'm better now. Thanks, Charlie. No problem. I'll help you fend off any demons, even the ones I don't believe in. I've fought worse. Char, I appreciate the sentiment, but please don't try to fight any literal flesh and blood demons for me. Or, like, in general. Yeah, you're right. I'd probably just panic and throw a rock at it. To be fair, you wouldn't be the first person to throw a rock at Owlman. Oh, yeah, I remember the podcast mentioning that, actually. Who throws a rock at Owlman? Who sees an unidentified monster and goes, oh yeah, definitely time to try the rock, lads. Mia stifles a laugh. Honestly, someone who panicked due to their lack of plan. Oh yeah, totally. Speaking of which, your plan... Well, we should probably do a second draft. It needs work. Oh, shush. It's good enough. You really can't talk. Like, what? Are we going to look for Owlman residue? Are we going to, like, scour the forest floor for moisture? Because that's a lot of moisture. Or what if you scrape the trees with a cotton bud? We can test it back in the lab. Or we could... She stops, turning to me. Oh no, I'm sorry. Did I cross a line? Oh, nuts. I upset her by trying too hard not to upset her. No, She freezes in place, her breath's rapidly becoming erratic. I'm sorry, I was trying that to be cute banter, but it's just... Quickly, I take both her hands and calmly look her in the eyes. Mia, you're panicking again. Deep breaths. You haven't done anything wrong. She meets my gaze. Okay. She takes a few deep breaths, gently squeezing my hands in time with her breathing. After a while, she manages to calm herself. I'm sorry I'm such a burden. You're not a burden. You're the complete opposite of a burden. Like a helium balloon? Mia lets out a stifled giggle. I'm not sure if that's how helium works. You know what I mean. I don't go hunting in the woods for fictional animals with just anyone. We both fall silent for a second, both staring intensely into each other's eyes. After what feels like an eternity, Mia speaks. Charlie, I just want to say... She's staring me right in the eyes now. Her face is tantalizingly close. Blood rushes to my face. We should keep moving. Breaking eye contact, she releases one of my hands and continues onward. My face still red, I follow the gentle tug for grip into the woods. I have to be reading too much into this, right? The two of us continue into the forest in relative silence, heading down increasingly overgrown paths until I'm unsure if we're even on a path. Eventually, I cut the tension. Mia, are you feeling okay? Look, I'm usually okay with you teasing, but please don't make fun of me for this, okay? Of course. Mia inhales sharply, visibly struggling to get the words out. I saw something in these woods as a kid. What? I know, you must think I'm crazy. I take both her hands and look her in the eyes. Mia, I would never have teased you about this if I knew. No, it's okay. I wouldn't have invited you if I didn't like that. I saw the eyes. When I was a kid, those glowing eyes, just perched in a tree, looking into my house. Staring right at me, right into me. Best case scenario, Mothman. Worst case scenario, Creeper. It could probably get worse than that. That's why I brought you here. I don't feel safe here, but you make me feel safe. So I asked you to come with me, because if you're here, I can find out the truth. You gotta hit me fast. So you keep me grounded, and in return I hopefully help you see some of the wonder of this world. Or at least that's how I justified it to myself. Yeah, just checking OBS to make sure everything's okay. Mia, I don't believe in Owlman, but I believe in you. If you say you saw something, that's enough. You mean so much to me. I just want to... Screara! The scream cuts through the conversation. We both jump back, desperately trying to spot the source of the noise. That sounded really close. Don't panic, it's probably just an screech! Before I can finish my sentence, something swoops from the trees. In a mad panic, I throw a rock at it! Throw something at it. Throw me at it. In a mad panic, I grab my waist and throw whatever I can, grasp my hands on the attacker. And watch in disbelief as my torch spirals through the air, narrowly missing the now retreating bird and vanishing into the mud somewhere out of sight. Oh my god, you threw a torch at Owlman? After you made fun of people for throwing rocks at Owlman. My heart hammers in my chest. I take a few deep breaths and eventually manage to regain the composure to speak. I think I actually just fought a demon for you? I'm sorry, what? We just got attacked by something with glowing eyes, which swooped down from the... Mia stifles a giggle. Charlie, I love you, but I'm fairly sure that was just an owl. I mean... Mia. I take both her hands and stare deep into her gorgeous eyes. Her flat, green-colored eyes. I've been putting this off for a long time. Too long. The signs have been there, right? We've been holding hands basically all day. I mean, you called me cute multiple times. You think I'd have taken that for a sign at least once? I've been teasing you constantly in a desperate attempt to flirt with you, basically since I first met you, and I'm still not any good at it. Heck, I think you even tried to flirt back with the residue thing, and that's not even going into that time at Gwen's party when... Well, we both know what happened there. That's called a noodle incident. A noodle incident is when the story brings up an event to give the reader a chance to form their own idea of what happened through their imagination and then obstinately does not correct them. It's pretty obvious, right? Like, I love the game Valhalla, but it is very guilty of overusing noodle incidents. Every a lot, all the time, very commonly, sometimes, it happens. It'll be like, remember the day with the dogs? And it's like, oh my god, how could I forget? And then they just move on. As much as I want to find out if Owlman is here, this wasn't about that. I'm just so scared. You're so precious to me, and I just don't want to lose you because you don't like me back. Honestly, I'm still scared you don't like me back. Even after everything, a part of me is convinced that this... That was a good one. Part of me is convinced this is just one big misunderstanding. Well then, just to make sure we're on the same page. I love you too. Oh good. Still holding hands would be really awkward otherwise. Hey, you remember when we almost kissed earlier? Now, I'm not trying to hide how much I adore you. Yes, I do. How about we remove the almost? And then we kiss, and it's... oh god, it's like fireworks. My brain is flooded with emotions. Dancing, whirling. This is perfect. Just rub your faces together. Like... it's not making as much noise as I thought it would. It's like, this is just right. As if this was meant to be. It's hard to kiss someone who has no lips! Eventually we part lips, still holding hands. So what do we do now? Well, I was hoping we'd, like, be girlfriends? Is that okay? Mia laughs gently. I mean, about how we're still lost in the woods, but I'm also very down for that. Oh, of course. I was going to suggest we walk until we see houses, then follow the edge of the forest. I'm worried that owl might come back. Oh, now you don't want to believe in Owl Man. I didn't say that. I just think we should come back with a map and a plan. But for tonight, I think I've had enough cryptid hunting. We can come back for the tent tomorrow. Sounds like a plan. And so, still holding hands, we pick a direction and start walking. The end. That's cute. A nice little way to have a short story be a bit more memorable is to put it in a visual novel. Ren'Py is really easy to use from my understanding, so it's not much more of a barrier than just writing the story in the first place. Alright, next is this one, called Insynch. Don't be full screen. You don't want to do that. Also, don't freeze. Well, it crashed. I'll try one more time. Without trying to, like, alt-enter it before it's done loading. Probably just didn't like that. Options... no, there are no options. Okay. Let's see if I can get it to come up. It looks like it. Okay. In exploit mode, your goal is to survive for as long as possible. At the start of the level, you will receive lives in the form of a random number of shapes per lane. Watch out though, there are new twists that will make the game a lot harder to focus. I don't know the buttons. Okay. I found the buttons. That doesn't mean I'm necessarily going to be any good at it. The buttons are E, D, L, and P. Stop falling in the water. It is strangely difficult because they like jump over the button sometimes. And them just being on the button isn't good enough to necessarily make them survive. They need to, like, really mean it on the button. Yeah, like that wasn't good enough. This is weird though, like stop motion with shapes as your game pieces. Yeah, you don't want to bop them as soon as they hit the button. You want to do it just like slightly after. Like that was too early on the square. Alright, I'm kind of getting it now. Excellent. Their goofy animations as they move makes it a lot harder to tell when they're firmly on the... Nah, that's death. When they're firmly on the button. This game is kind of weirdly stressful. I like the little animations, but it's kind of hard to watch them when I have to watch for when they're on the button exactly. This is the sort of thing that I don't know if it would make a good full game, but I think it would make a good mini game in something bigger. Like something that you get rewarded for doing well at, and that players would complain that they have to do well in order to get a trophy. That sort of thing, you know? This is truly the collect all 800 eggs to get the true ending sort of thing. That's what I want to see from something like this. I kind of feel like mini games are a bit of a dying breed in larger things. Like playing FF16. FF16 didn't have any mini games, and that was a big disappointment. Like, yeah, the combat's good and all, but I want to do something that's not the combat, you know? I'm doing really badly this time. Okay. Explore mode goal is to reach the end of a level by building up the music as you see fit, catching the shapes as they come. If you manage to reach the end game, shapes will tumble down every lane at a faster rate. Try to get as many possible to raise your end game scores. Oh, this is cool. It builds up as you gain more lives, as you gain more shapes. It's like the music makes you think it's kind of rhythm-based, but it's really not. The shapes don't appear to go onto the button in time with the notes of the song. So if anything, the music kind of serves to distract you from carefully watching all the bits. Yeah, you thought you would shimmy away from me. I got a few of them from that big crowd. Getting a little better at it. Not sure when this is gonna end. And those pyramids are really vibing. The dodecahedron was doing the cha-cha slide. It's a lot to keep track of. My time playing The World Ends With You has trained me for this moment. I wasn't that good at that game. It's just not very hard is all. Oh god, it's all falling apart. Oh beans. Oh, I'm running out. The fact that this can be stop motion and context sensitive while still kind of appearing smooth as to when you know, hit them with the buttons, it's actually really impressive. Alright, let's try the other songs. Presumably there are other songs. Yeah, so let's try the other songs for a bit. I can do better than that. Okay, only one lost so far. 2 lost, 3 lost, 4 lost, 5 lost, 6 lost. Okay. Let's get 30 seconds. I can do 30 seconds. This song kind of reminds me of Genosha. Genosha is a very good game that I would love to play for the channel, but you know. Oh, come on. 30 seconds, let's go. I disagree with that pyramid. I feel like I got it. Ha, legally made it to 30 seconds. No take backsies. No, okay. So I'll just try out all of the different levels a bit, and then call it on this game and move on to the next. Try to get at least 30 seconds on each one, you know? I feel like that's a decent benchmark. It was too early to move the square, and then I tried again later and was still too early. Alright, doing pretty good this time. Hit my little goal. He realized I got confident. And now it's here to humble me. Nice. Hey, I got over a minute. The shapes kind of settle when they're on the button at the time when you're supposed to, you know, hit them. Like, no matter how much they move, they'll sort of stop very briefly when they are centered on it. Well, I mean, that's 30 seconds. Alright. That's a cool little game. It's impressive. The movement animations are pretty fluid and quirky. Time-wasting mobile games with the right inputs. Yeah, this would be really easy to do with mobile. You would just have, like, the buttons, I was full screen, so I couldn't see chat while I was doing it. So the buttons could be the four corners of the screen, and that would be pretty easy to implement, and maybe make it not isometric, but instead top-down. And it works just fine. Okay, let's get the next one loaded up. Called Karlson Run. So, the history on this game is there's some, like, really famous YouTuber who's making a game about Karlson, this little computer guy here, and someone was like, I'm gonna make, like, a fan game of it, and that's what this is. So, I'm, like, 3 layers removed from not knowing what's going on, and, like...
Hello, Carlson, and welcome to generic fan-made game. You are my prisoner and my test subject. Ha 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 ha. Yes. Anyway, here is what will happen. I placed a carton of milk at the end of the road. Run to it. Do not stop, or I will beat you to it. This is your companion, Billy. He will heal you over time if you wake him up. He also works as a meat shield. You can also slide or jump on top of enemies to kill them. Killing enemies or destroying boxes may drop a weapon. You can use it to kill enemies or destroy boxes from afar. Well, good luck, and don't die.
This is very silly. I mean, it's an infinite runner game, nothing too special there. Oh no! Karlson is killed. Yeah, I mean, this is just wild, because of how many layers of I don't know what's going on this is. Also, I was wrong. I guess Karlson is the guy. Like, he's not a small YouTuber either. He has, like, multiple million views on his videos. I mean, that's kind of the type of person I don't watch. A YouTuber is sold out when they're getting 6 digits in their view count. As far as I'm concerned. That's not true. But I imagine that the YouTuber is someone who appeals mostly to, like, wee little children. Too. Ouches. They're the ones who get really popular these days. I mean, it's a pretty basic Infinite Runner game, but I like the animations. The ragdolling's really nice. I like that a lot, actually. Being able to cancel your jumps into a slide, hey, that's nice. There's some games you could really learn from that. And anytime you can, like, cancel your animations, I'm sold. Oh, he got noodled pretty good. He got Bethesda'd. Seems like you kind of just, like, slide basically forever. It will automatically take you out of it eventually, but there's basically no downsides to sliding. I don't know, it kind of feels like this is pretty terrible when I could just have a gun with infinite range, you know? Oh no, I hit 2 things at once. I mean, it just sort of seems like the type of game that would show up in an episode of Law and Order where they're trying to demonize video games or something. Look at all the violence these kids are doing. What are the kids into these days? Infinite runners, skeletons, communism?
Did you lose the...
Oh. Man, it really wanted me to go. Oh, but there's upgrades. I didn't see any healing. It seemed like a one-hit kill sort of game. Wow, this is so weird. I don't want to play this. It kind of creeps me out. I don't know. It feels like I'm going to be part of a copy pasta if I keep playing that. Alright. This next one's Beyond the Bow once it loads. And it wants to be full screen, because it thinks it's a cool kid. Cool kids, open in windowed mode, thank you. is it like that? Okay. 720. Redo the cropping. Okay. Start game. Miss Times, I'm sure you understand why you're here. This is funky. No. Japan, 1698. You didn't think we would notice? Yes, the Edo period. Notice what? You made contact with a human outside the bounds of your contract and mission. Okay, I don't think we're gonna be too worried about the history then. It was a kid. They were drowning. It doesn't matter who or what happened. You made contact with a non-contract and broke our primary rule. We're letting you go. Thank you for your service to our group. I'm going to have to ask you to turn in your company materials and leave. You can't fire me for the... Yes, we can. This was a primary stipulation in your contract for immediate dismissal. Do you know what would happen if every one of with one of those watches could go anywhere and do anything? We need these barriers, so we'll wake up to a completely different world tomorrow. I hope you understand someday. Please hand me your hourglass. Don't make this difficult for both of us, please. Let go. Minnie! Minnie! Ugh. My watch broke. Wait, where am I? I don't know, I'm on the director's side. Don't mess with history. Oh, where am I? Shoot, my watch is broken. It doesn't look fixable. And now that I can't use it, I guess I'm stuck here. Great. I just hope this isn't someplace too horrible. Looks like I'm in some sort of mechanical room. I should just ask someone where I am, and when I am, too. We got wads, we got movement. Good evening, ma'am. You look a little lost. Watch out, don't want to drop these boxes on you. But what year are those boxes from? I mean, hello. Bum, 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 bum. You just gonna keep doing those notes? Excuse me. Hey, sorry, I can't really talk. I have to fix this leak in the engine. Problem is, I need my wrench to fix it, but I can't find it. Oh, do you need any help? Actually, yeah, could you find it for me? I think I left it in one of the storage rooms around here. I'd go looking for it myself, but I can't really walk away from this without something bad happening. Sure, no problem. We're on a boat. Probably on the boat. Probably on the Titanic. That would be a bummer. Wrench. Wrench, get. Can you help me? My wrench is in that room way over there. I chucked it. Here you go. Hey, you found it. Give me a sec to fix this. Thanks a bunch. You really helped me out. Sure, it was no problem. Glad we avoided a near disaster. Ha, yeah. Say, have we met before? You don't look familiar. No, I'm many times. Nice to meet you, Miss Times. I'm James. I should probably get back to work soon, but thanks for your help. So that outfit doesn't look great for doing mechanic work. Huh? What do you mean? Don't get me wrong, it's a great outfit. I just wouldn't want you getting grease and soot all over your fancy clothes, you know. Oh, yeah, well, I'm not actually a mechanic. I just got lost, I guess. And ended up in the engine room? Yeah, somehow. Okay, let me show you out. There you go. This elevator will take you up to the residential decks. Residential decks? Yeah, you know, where the passengers stay. Sure are a lot of them on the Titanic. Huh? What I wouldn't give to sleep in one of those first-class suites. At the Titanic? Yeah, that's the ship we're on. Did you bump your head or something? You're acting a little strange. Do you need the date too? Here, let me exposit at you. April 14th, 1912. It's around 10 p.m. Oh, I just got confused for a second. I need to talk to the captain. We're gonna die. The captain? Why? I should get going. Thanks for your help, James. Okay, alright then, no problem. Pleasure meeting you, Minnie. I hope we don't all die horribly tonight. If I'm on the Titanic, that means the ship is going to sink soon. I need to try to stop it if I want to survive. To do that, I need to convince the captain that the ship is in danger. He should be in the bridge at the front of the boat. Which way is any button? Which way is the front? Is it down here? Let me just take one of these. I didn't think you were going to talk that long. I thought you were unimportant, so I just started skipping your dialogue. Too bad. Get on, nerd. Minnie, do you want to get a move on? You want to put a little pep in your step, a little hustle in your trestle? Just like Clive. No urgency at all. It's a key for translating Morse code. It's a Marconi telegraph machine for sending Morse coded messages. You're gonna have me translate Morse code, aren't you? It's the worst kind of puzzle. Excuse me, Captain. Turn this ship around. Yes, who are you? Captain of the Titanic. Edward Smith. See, that was not hard to look up. Edward John Smith, RDR&R, was a British mercantile marine officer. He served as a master of numerous White Star Line vessels. He was the captain of the RMS Titanic and perished when the ship sank on her maiden voyage. Like, come on, you could at least get that right, you know? We know who was on the Titanic. It's okay if you want to make one of the, like, the guests your own character, like James Cameron's Titanic. But, like, you should get the important figures right, don't you think? How did you get in here? Passengers aren't permitted on the bridge. I'm sorry, but I need to warn you about something. Warn me? About what? Spit it out then. I'm very busy steering the ship. No. The helmsman is steering the ship, right? Yeah, the helmsman. Or the coxswain. What's the difference? There are many different jobs on a boat, including captain and cook. One of the most important jobs is coxswain, which is the helmsman or steersman. So just say helmsman, or just say coxswain. Am I pronouncing that right?
Coxswain.
Coxswain. I mean, I've never heard that before. But yeah. The captain does not steer the ship. We're 0 for 2. Yeah, the captain says reverse the polarity, and the helmsman is the one who steers it. Come on, Titanic game. Learn a little bit about boats. There's an iceberg field up ahead in our path. You need to slow the ship down. What do you want about icebergs? How do you know that? You should know that you're headed into Arctic waters. Where the Titanic sank. That's a crappy map. I guess it was a little odd. It wasn't that far north. It was only a little further north than New York when it hit. Interesting. Just trust me, the Titanic is going to hit an iceberg and the whole ship will sink. That's ridiculous. I'm a stellar captain who drives the boat all by myself. Toot toot. I won't let the ship hit anything. And even if it did, the ship is unsinkable. It would never go down. Please, you have to slow down before we reach the iceberg fields. I don't doubt your skills, but the ship is going way too fast, and until I have proof that the ship is actually in danger, I'm not going to do anything about it. Now, if you don't mind, I'm busy trying to steer the ship. Yeah, definitely not the Arctic, just very cold. You need to find proof that the Titanic is in danger to convince the captain to slow the ship down. Otherwise, there's no hope of saving the Titanic or any of the people on board. Or I could just let history take its course. Honestly, that sounds fine too. The lives of the people in the past are not your concern. Excuse me. Hello, is anybody in here? That's weird. There should be someone here. It sounds like there's a message coming through the communications machine. That might be important. I should try to figure out what it says. Okay, I got the message. It's in Morse code. I need to find a way to translate what it says, otherwise it's useless. Yes, this is exactly what I need. I have to bring this to the captain right away. There's no time to lose. I mean, what does it say? What's this? A transmission from a nearby ship, warning of icebergs. I'm not so sure about that. Let's see. The SS Californian was a British Leyland Line steamship said to have been near the Titanic, close enough to have seen its rockets when it was sinking, but took no action to assist. So, you should probably say that. This is just a slip of paper. How do I know this is real? Besides, you're just a passenger. I don't know you. How do I know you're not trying to sabotage the ship? Please, Captain, you have to trust me. I don't trust this message, and I don't trust you. Now I'm going to have to ask you to leave. I'm very busy here, steering the ship. Drifting, Jim Corners. But Captain, have a good day, madam. And I'll be upping security to make sure passengers can't get in here anymore. I can't believe it. He wouldn't even hear me out. Well, if the captain won't believe me, maybe the other people were. Riot! Get a panic, make a panic happen. I still need to do what I can to save people, even if it means interfering with the past. I mean, I've already got fired from my job. What else could they do to me? Unmake you. But I have to... But I have to hurry if I want to save anyone. I only have a few hours before the Titanic sinks. Oh, I'm just so worried. What if we hit an iceberg? What's wrong? It's my son, Sam. He ran off earlier. I don't know where he went. I thought maybe he came up to the top deck, but I don't see him. Where did you see him last? Well, we were coming back from the dining room, and then he ran off ahead of me. When I thought I'd caught up with him, he was nowhere to be seen. Oh, big yells. I'm worried he's lost. The ship is so huge. I wouldn't even know where to start looking. I can help you find him. Oh, you can? Thank you so much. That would be a great help. I think I'll wait here in case he happens to come this way. But I need to warn you about something. Warn me about what? Now, I know this might sound crazy, but the Titanic is going to sink. What? Sink? That's impossible. The Titanic is supposed to be unsinkable. I know it's unbelievable, but you have to trust me. We only have a couple hours. Are you sure? I mean, it sounds ridiculous. I know it does, but if you aren't safe, you might go down with the ship. And Sam is still missing. What can I do? You stay here and warn anyone you see. I'll find Sam and bring him back here. Alright, please hurry. Hello there, do you need something? Well, no, but I was here earlier and no one was here. Oh yeah, sorry about that. I had to take a bathroom break. Hope I didn't miss anything important. Actually, you did. A transmission from a nearby ship warning about icebergs came through. If the Titanic doesn't slow down, we're gonna hit an iceberg and sink. This is the message that came through. Take a look. Oh man, we need to warn Captain Jones. I already tried. He wouldn't listen. You need to send out distress signals to nearby ships now, so they can be here to rescue us when the Titanic goes down. Alright, that's a good idea. No point in trying to convince the captain anyway with that thick skull of his. I'll reach out to as many nearby ships as possible. Man, this game has a really low opinion of, Hold on, let me just look that up again real quick. Edward Smith. He dies. I'll reach out to as many nearby ships as possible. Thank you, you're saving lives. Who wants to talk to me? Hello? Hello? I'm Jen O'Connor. I'm sorry to intrude, but are you okay? Me? Oh yeah, I'm just worried. About what? Well, you see, I'm traveling to America alone. I want to get a job as a seamstress. What are you doing on the Titanic? This is a luxury ship for rich people. You know that... You know, in the James Cameron movie that, like, he snuck on, right? I'm traveling to America alone. I want to get a job as a seamstress, find good work, and make a name for myself. My family in Ireland wasn't supportive of me going. They thought it was too risky. Where was the Titanic going? It was going to New York. That tracks, at least. I'm from Queenstown. Once I found out the Titanic would be boarding passengers there. But it was too good of an opportunity not to pass up. Too good of an opportunity to pass up. I saved up money and bought a ticket without telling my family. How much did a ticket for the Titanic cost? About $1,700 today. For a simple berth. Up to $50,000 for one of the 2 parlor suites. So, let's assume lowest price, right? She saved up $1,700 and was like, I'm going to use that to go somewhere else. Oh, sorry. Second class tickets were $60, around $700 today, and third class passengers paid between $50 and $40, $170 to $460. Okay, so if she paid the equivalent to $170, that sounds plausible. I just feel so guilty for leaving without telling anyone. Well, I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but you're gonna die tonight. But what? What's going on? The Titanic is about to sink. What? But the Titanic is supposed to be unsinkable. How do you even know this? There's no way it's true. I know it sounds crazy, but I've seen the future. Oh, you do sound crazy. Have a good night, miss. I know what happens, and everyone on board is in danger. There's only a few hours left. So, I'm gonna die? I knew going to America was a mistake. I didn't even say goodbye to my family. Now they're not going to know what happened to me. Oh, they're gonna know. Well, they wouldn't, because you didn't tell them. You don't have to die. If you get to the lifeboats in time, you can make it to safety. I think there's a way to alert your family. There is. How? The telegrapher. Person who sends telegraphs. A telegraphist. Or a telegrapher American English. Okay, so it's telegrapher in American English, telegraphist in British English. It's a British ship, right? So it should be telegraphist. But we don't know the nationality. We don't know the origin of this main character. They could be American English. So telegrapher would be correct. I'm just scrutinizing everything. I'm gonna really drive the screws in. If you write to them letting them know where you are, they won't have to worry so much. That'd be good. That's a good idea. But is there enough time for that? If we hurry, we can get the message sent and still make it to safety. Okay, I don't have anything to write a message with, though. I'll go find something to write with. You can stay here and try to warn as many people in the cabins as you can. Okay, can do. Please hurry. Wait, before you go, what's your name? And many times. Manny, that's a pretty name. I'm Imogen O'Connor. Nice to meet you, Imogen. Sorry it has to be under these circumstances. Me too. Can I get a bad ending and just let the Titanic sink? I think that's best for the timeline. Just think, you'd be putting James Cameron out of a job. How could you do that to him? Bother all these sleeping people. I guess none of them want to talk to me. Busy sleeping. Soon with the fishes. Are you on the right floor? The clothes look a bit too fancy to be in the third-class cabins, lady. I can't tell Sam that the boat is sinking. That's too much for a child to understand. If I get him back to his mom, I know he'll be safe. Hello, ma'am. Are you checking out any books? No, not at the moment. Was there a library on the Titanic? The library was located on C deck at the aft end of the Titanic superstructure. But I think this was B deck. Deck B instead of C? For shame. Hey, you got any pens? Thanks. Hello, any children around here? Any children who need to go back to their mamas? Hello, sir. Hello, young lady. How are you this evening? Well, you know, it could be better. It could be a lot worse. I need to warn you about something, sir. What is it? The Titanic is going to sink soon. In a few hours, we're going to hit an iceberg and the ship is going to sink. Are you sure? Yes, I'm sure. You need to get to safety soon so you can make it onto the lifeboats. Sir? What's your name, young lady? My name? It's Minnie Times. It's a pleasure to meet you, Minnie. I'm Arthur Wilson. Yeah, pleasure. Sir, did you hear what I just said? If you don't get to safety soon, you'll go down with the ship. Yes, I heard you. Then you want to know something, Minnie? My wife passed away earlier this year. We were married for 52 years, rarely apart for all that time. Since she's been gone, my life just doesn't seem worth living anymore. Don't say that. You have plenty to live for. I'm sorry about your wife, but I'm old, Minnie. I've lived a good life. There are others on board worth saving more than me. Are you sure? I want nothing more than to sit here, smoke one last cigar, and go out on my own terms. I'm at peace with it. All right, I respect your decision. Thank you, Miss Times. Is there anything at all I can do to help you? There is, actually. I seem to have misplaced my lighter. I must have dropped it in the corridor somewhere. Could you look for it for me? Of course. Thank you again, Miss Times. Alright, what a weirdo. Sam? Huh? Who are you? My name is Minnie. My mom sent me to look for you. She's incredibly worried. Oh, I didn't mean to worry her. I wanted to read some books. Sitting around in the cabin is so boring. Why did you run off, though? My mom wouldn't let me come here alone. She says we're not allowed it because we're not first class or something. So I ran off by myself. No one's supposed to care I'm here, though. But they wouldn't let me check out a book, so I want to stay here and read it. Why won't they let you check it out? Probably because I'm just a kid. How about I check it out? Then you can take it with you, and you can go back to your mom. Yeah, let's do that. Can I get some more books, too? Yeah, sure. Pick out a few and let's get going. Thank you. Here are your books, ma'am. These are due back before the ship lands. Thank you very much. Alright, Sam. Ready to go back to your mom? Yeah, let's go. Back to the bridge with this old kid and his books. I wasn't over here. Sam, I was so worried. Where did you run off to? I was in the library. Look, Mom, I got some books. What? You're not supposed to have those. She got them for me. I checked out the books in my name so Sam could take them with him. I hope that's okay. Oh, thank you. That's very kind. I'm sure you would have stayed in the library all day if you hadn't found him. It's just a relief that he's okay and here with you now. He should be asleep. It's 10. It's bedtime, kiddo. Yes, such a relief. His curiosity always gets him into so much trouble. I'm hoping to find a good school for him to attend once we get to America. If we make it there. If you can make it onto the lifeboats, I'm sure you'll be safe. I can only hope. Mom, can we go back to our room? I want to read my books. Well, sweetheart, why don't we stay up here for a while? We don't have to spend time out of the room. Okay. It's fun up here, Sam. Trust me. Stay very close to the lifeboat, Sam. Thank you. I'm sorry, what was your name? I'm Minnie. Many times. Thank you, Minnie. You might have just saved our lives. But don't thank me. I had to do what I could. By the way, how do you know that the ship is going to sink? Well, you see... Oh, no! Kablamo! Evelyn and her son Sam were walking to the top deck of the Titanic when the ship hit the iceberg. Their close proximity allowed them to make it onto the lifeboats and escape the sinking ship safely. Their close proximity meant that they were jettisoned from the deck and fell into the freezing water where they died painfully. If Sam had stayed in the library reading, Evelyn might never have seen her son again. Thanks to your help in reuniting the two, they now have hope of a happy future together. Minnie, knowing the fate of the Titanic, rushed to the lifeboats as soon as the iceberg hit. She was able to make it safely off the boat, and was rescued after several hours floating at sea. And one person who was supposed to live now doesn't. Or maybe two. Now stuck in the past with no hope of returning to her time period, Minnie has to figure out her place in the 1910s and make a new life for herself. It's gonna be a little rough. You thought I wouldn't fucking find you? You think we don't have trackers on those watches? Jesus Christ, I knew it was the right decision to fire you. Alright, I think that'll do it for today. I mean, that game was... They should have done a little more research, I think. And, there's some ethical concerns I think they just sort of brushed past. Like, woo, boy. Really putting your feelings over the potential damage to the timeline, huh? That's, we have stories about that, ma'am. Yeah, maybe 3, whoever Minnie the Boy and the Mom replaced. Let's look up some Titanic survivors and see who they may have killed. Okay. Philomena Dean, the last survivor of the Titanic, passed away in 2009 at the age of 97. At the time of sinking, Dean was just 2 months old. Molly Brown, historically known as Unsinkable Molly Brown, was also on lifeboat number 6 and allegedly pleaded, even argued with the crew to return to the wreckage to help survivors. It is not clear, however, if she did convince them to return or not. Elsie Bowerman, a suffrage advocate who was on the same lifeboat as Brown, later wrote her own account. So you may have killed a suffrage advocate. Good job. Cosmo and Lucy Duff Gordon. The Duff Gordons, a married couple, also survived, but Cosmo Duff Gordon was eviscerated by the public for boarding a lifeboat when it was supposed to be women and children only. After all, they both boarded lifeboat number 1. Also set to board the Lusitania. He may have bribed crew members with money. Madeline Astor was pregnant on her honeymoon, recently married to John Jacob J.J. Astor when the Titanic sank. Her husband did not survive, and upon getting rescued, she later gave birth to her son. However, the Titanic seemed to haunt Astor, who publicly refused to talk about it, even once cited that she was inconvenienced by the curious. She later died in 1940 at the age of 46. These aren't very interesting, honestly. But there are lots of very exciting people. There were some spaces in the lifeboats, though. Yeah, so maybe she didn't kill anyone. Maybe this time. But that's the end of the stream for today. I'm going to get the schedule up for next week. But that was a little bit meatier on the short games today, except for Wave to the People. That one was a minute. But some pretty good ones.